think it's no secret that Tekken 6 was missing something. It was a decent game on the surface, but it didn't do enough in terms of presentation and setting to keep players engaged in its story and characters. I guess it was just missing that Tekken magic. So the next game in the series, whatever it was, had to recapture it.
The King of Iron Fist Tournament.
And in September of 2012, we finally got Tekken Tag Tournament 2. So would the sequel to the game that brought the franchise over to the 6th generation be able to help the franchise stay afloat in the 7th generation? And that is what I'm here to do, look back at Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Bit of a mouthful. I am looking at it on the Xbox 360 via backwards compatibility. Don't ask why my controller's got a wire, it just does. I haven't got much else to add. This is the last game on the 7th gen consoles, like the fully fledged Tekken game in the series, and then we move straight onto the PS4 and Xbox One. So yeah, it's gone pretty quick. Last game on the 7th gen, was it any good? Let's find out. Tekken 6 actually sold really well. Obviously the name Tekken wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, and it wouldn't be too long until we found out about the next game in the series, because just 1 year after the release of Tekken 6, Tag Tournament 2 was revealed in September of 2010. It would be a long 2-year wait before we saw the game release on consoles though. The reason I say it was a long wait is because by this time gaming content on YouTube had become way more popular than ever before. So trailers and gameplay were everywhere. It was also the first time I realised that the Tekken games released in arcades first, so seeing that and also seeing the release of Tekken Hybrid, a prologue to the game on PS3, got me as excited as ever for the release of a new Tekken game. I felt like I was seeing a new trailer every time I went on the internet, and the two that stand out to me have to be the Switch trailer and the Girl Power trailer. You could just tell the advertising budget was big for this game, and what do you do when you have a massive advertising budget? Well, you get Snoop Dogg to make an original song, of course.
Get ready for the next battle.
And on September 14th, 2012, I finally got my hands on Tekken Tag 2. The reason I bring up the intro FMV in every game is because I think they set the mood perfectly for the game you're about to play. With the music and visuals, explains a lot about Tekken 6 then. Nah, no, we're not doing that again. But Tekken Tag 2's intro is great. It uses a remix version of the Tekken Tag intro music and definitely sets the mood for the game in a good way. It literally starts off with this fucking monster sitting in the back of a taxi. It shows the fun side of the series and definitely sets the mood for the game. If Tekken 6 is the super serious side of the franchise, then Tekken Tag 2 is the complete opposite. It's only short but does a great job of showing what the game's about, which obviously the tag mechanic and the amount of characters from past and present like Angel and Olga. I always used to think the intro was longer than this, and in my mind I think I mixed up the console intro and the arcade one. And to be honest, the arcade one is just a little bit better, but both do a great job of hyping the game up, and the music, well, there's a reason they used it twice. Right then, if I critiqued Tekken 6 for it, I've got to do the same with Tag 2. It has no new game modes, it's exactly the same options as Tekken 6, but just obviously the added bonus of the tag mechanic, which isn't even its own mode. You now just choose on the character select screen if you want a partner or just solo. It is a bit disappointing, they didn't even add Tekken Bowl, which would have been perfect, and there's no scenario campaign to hide behind either. There was online play, but obviously it's quite hard to find a match, so I can't really talk on that. There is one mode I need to talk about, and that's Fight Lab. Honestly, growing up, I just completely ignored this mode, thinking it was just a glorified tutorial, and it is. But after playing it a bit over the last week, I realised there's a lot more to it than that. So what is Fight Lab? Well, it serves as Tag 2's story mode. Obviously the tag games are non-canon, so the team decided to have a bit of fun with it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to blur that or not. It follows Lee Chaolon as he tries to retrain his combat after accidentally deleting everything from its memory and having to start from scratch. You take control of the combat, learning the basics and slowly learning new attacks and also new ways to defend. There's actually a lot here to go through. Each chapter sees you take on different enemies and challenges, like this one for example. After you're taught about movement, you have to navigate through these explosive balloons and attack the enemies on the other side, which after playing Tekken my whole life, I was expecting to be a little bit better at. The mode is also quite funny, throwing in crazy things like this. It's something I wish the game did more of, having these fun modes where the game doesn't take itself too seriously. The mode also has its own currency system where you can buy certain moves from other characters and build your own personal combat that fits your playstyle. This is a brilliant idea and I wish there was something like this in the new games. Maybe a character creator for a story mode where you slowly build your character up and take on endless amounts of characters and make your way to the tournament as the final. Hey, Harada, you can have that idea for free if you want. All in all, Tekken Tag 2 still suffers from the same thing as 6, a lack of new game modes, but also, like Tekken 6, having something that adds just enough to keep the game exciting and fun. So yeah, just like the first tag game, there's no story as it's non-canon. I guess the Fight Lab mode is the story in this game, but that mainly focuses on Lee being a bit of a knob. So yeah, not much to talk about in terms of story, but there are endings for each character, which I'll talk about a bit later. And according to Harada, all the endings and things that go on in the tag games are just Gonryu's dreams, so there's that. Hello mate. What are you doing here? So you're talking about Tekken Tag Tournament 2 next, aren't you? Yeah, so I'm talking about Tekken Tag 2 next. What's your point? So I think it's time for another one of my little stories. Right, no, we're not doing that again. I had to get to therapy for 3 months after hearing your horrible story. You're not doing it again. And I think he does that at the end. I think that's called the donkey punch. Yeah. I into the technical terms. I know a couple of things. What? But I've spent so much time on it. Yeah, look, I really don't care how long you've spent on it. I'm not listening to it again. You know what? You're just an arsehole, you are. You're just nasty. You know what? I'm just going to drown my sorrows. Fuck you. You're not going to leave until I say yes, are you? No, I'm not going to. Alright, and let's just get this over with. I knew you'd come around. There you go. Right, pass it here. Right, the first word on here is cumbot. Please tell me that's a typo. It's not a typo. Right, yeah, no, we're not doing this again. Just, I'll come back later because I'm not dealing with you doing this every time. It's not. I'm done. You make the video, okay? You make the video. There's a bit of that. I can make the video. I can make the video. I can make the video. Yes, I can make the video. Okay, it's my chance. Hello, my name's Lawrence the Hot Dog, and this is some mustard I'm going to be reviewing today. I'm going to be tasting it just for you. Mustard. I love it. Okay, that's it. Get out. Okay, I'm leaving. I don't know what it is about Tag 2's gameplay, but something feels different and I can't quite put my finger on it. But it felt like I had to do certain combos at a different pace and I felt like the characters were a bit bulkier, if that even makes sense. It feels different, but not in a bad way. Of course we have the return of the tag throws, which means that you can switch characters while doing a throw at the same time, causing damage to your opponent. There's also a new combo system where you can use both characters simultaneously to string together combos, which just looks like a complete mess when I do it. And last but not least, the wall breaks return on some stages, this time around with a new element. Once you knock your opponent off, your tag partner will be waiting on the other side to carry on the combo. It's clear to me that with all these additions in the gameplay, Tag 2 wasn't meant to be super competitive and was just meant to be a fun game. From my research on competitive and online play, I found that most people thought it was super broken and a lot of characters were super overpowered, making the game unbalanced and not fun to play competitively. But from a casual perspective, Tag 2 does enough to keep the game fun and exciting, especially with the tag system and stages. So then, characters. Well, there's a lot of them. 59 to be exact, which is insane. Every single playable character from Tekken's history is playable, except for this little bastard. It even includes Maharu, who only ever showed up as a palette swap for Xiaoyu in Tekken 4. On top of the whole cast being here, we also have some new characters. these being Sebastian, Lily's butler, Slim Bob, who's well a slim version of Bob, and then JC, a masked luchador, who definitely isn't Julia Chang. The fact that the game brought back all these characters like the likes of John, Michelle, Alex and Angel, who hadn't been seen since the first tag game 12 years prior, is great. Back when the game first released, 10 characters were missing and would be added as free DLC, which at the time, giving away DLC for free was absolutely insane, but I'm glad they did. Being able to boot it up now and not having to worry about buying 12-year-old DLC at full price is great. I'm glad there's no other decade-old games still selling DLC at full price. I don't think I've actually spoke about just how insane the roster is. Like, there's so many to choose from, all of them can be customised, which by the way is just as insane, if not more so, than Tekken 6. All of them have endings, which would probably take a few hours to unlock every single one. And on this rare occasion, I think Tekken Tag 2 not only has quality, but also quantity as well. I get people being annoyed with some characters being OP, but with this many characters and combinations, there is bound to be some balancing issues. I think the roster is just another great example of this game being about fun more than being about competitiveness, which depending on what you want out of a Tekken game is either good or bad. Oh, and one more thing, the decal editor is a great addition, but is the most awkward, clunkiest fucking thing I've ever used. I just gave up after 30 seconds. Okay, now this is where it gets good. If you watch my Tekken 6 video, then you know how much I hated the stages in that game, which in Tekken 6's case makes the game feel depressing, drab and all round forgetful. Yeah, I don't think I liked them that much. But Tekken Tag 2 is the complete opposite, with most of the stages being bright and vibrant with an absolutely banging soundtrack. Tag 2 definitely makes up for the depressing mess that was Tekken 6. Some stages are completely original, while others take inspiration from previous games, like Moonlight Wilderness from Tekken 5, but in this version you actually fight in the ruins in the background, and Snow Castle from Dark Resurrection. It's a great mix of new and old, and even a fucking Snoop Dogg stage, because why not? Some songs have been remixed from classic games. Speaking of songs, Tag 2 has a new feature called Tekken Tunes, which in later games would be called Tekken Jukebox. It basically allows you to change the background music on any stage and menu. Sadly on this version I'm playing, you can only change it to songs from the Tag 2 soundtrack, but I do remember playing this on the PS3 and being able to change it to songs I had saved on my console, which I can only imagine the amount of cringe 15-year-old me had as the background music.
Final round. Fight!
It also means I can change Snoop Dogg's stage music to one of his most memorable and iconic Okay, I'm about to make a joke, and if this gets copyright claimed, I'm seriously going to consider deleting my channel. If the next thing you see is silent, then it definitely did get claimed. Anyway, it means I can change the song on Snoop Dogg's stage to one of his most memorable and iconic songs.
If somebody say just me, get delivery like a shit. Hungry dog gotta eat.
You could also buy all the soundtracks from the older games in the series, which is a pretty reasonable price, and considering all DLC characters were free, I'm going to give them a pass on charging for them. Anyway, here are some of my favourites. And my favourite stage has to be Arctic Dream. It's just mad and just shows the fun the developers were having creating these stages. For me, Tekken Tag 2 had the most fun stages in the series, and with the addition of Tekken Tunes being able to mix and match the background music makes this game's stage selection one of the best. Normally I talk about a singular boss in this part of the video, but this game actually has 3 separate parts to its boss level. First one being against Jinpachi and Heihachi. This fight is actually quite easy to get past, and so is the second one against Ogre. Neither rounds actually feel like a challenge, but I do like the inclusion of previous final bosses, almost like sub-bosses. The real final boss is Jun Kazama. Yeah, she's the final boss you face, and it's quite a pain in the arse to beat, but once you do finally beat her, you finally get the real final boss, Unknown, who is even more of a pain in the arse. Unknown feels like a proper Tekken boss, sometimes feeling unfair and unbeatable, but all you gotta do is be patient and pick your attacks just right, and she's not too hard to beat. I love Tag 2's choice of boss fights. It's a great throwback to some of the classic boss fights in Tekken history, while also being equal parts fun and challenging. Then we get onto the endings. Man, these endings are something else. While there's always been different endings, some funny, some more serious in the series, Tag 2's endings are something special, with a lot of them having completely different art styles, like Christy and Forest Law's endings, Bob's ending having a comic book look to it, and Mokujin's ending, seeing him walking around the Bandai Namco offices. Having so many different art styles and themes behind these endings makes it even more fun than ever. Some of them are genuinely funny, while others are actually quite sad. With the game being non-canon, they had a lot more freedom with the endings, and it definitely shows. And even though there's almost 60 characters here, all of them seem to have a really great and detailed ending, which I really enjoyed unlocking, and it makes the game a joy to play through over and over again. So after Tekken 6 being quite disappointing, how did Tekken Tag 2 do? Well, it smashed it out of the park. While the approach to the gameplay wasn't everyone's cup of tea, the massive roster of characters, fun and interesting stages, and amazing endings really did bring that Tekken magic back to the series. So yeah, that is it for Tekken Tag 2. I actually really enjoyed playing this game. I had a lot of fun with it, a lot more fun than I did with Tekken 6. I know this video has been a bit shorter, but they normally are with the tag videos, and like Dark Resurrection for example. They're just a lot more shorter, there's no story to talk about, they're a lot more compact, so that's why this video has been a bit shorter. So I'm going to have to put Tekken Tag 2 in the tier list, and I'm going to put it in A tier, right next to the original tag tournament. In my opinion, it's a lot more fun to play than Tekken 6, even though Tekken 6 had the scenario campaign, and this game doesn't really have much more game modes than Fight Lab. I just had a lot more fun with Tekken Tag 2 than I did with Tekken 6. I just think the vibe of Tekken Tag 2 is way much better, it's way more fun, doesn't take itself too seriously, and has a lot of fun with its endings, its stages, its music, everything. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time with Tekken Tag 2. I know for a lot of people this game kind of ruined the competitive angle on the whole Tekken series, and in doing that it actually almost killed the series, but yeah, I'll talk about that in the Tekken 7 video. But yeah, in terms of the actual game itself, I really enjoyed my time with Tekken Tag 2, and I don't think it gets enough credit. It's really fun to go back to, and I actually really enjoyed it. I know I've said that already, but I'm just trying to say I did really enjoy my time with this game. So yeah, that is it for Tekken Tag 2. Next up is Tekken 7. I can't believe I'm actually here talking about this game. This is technically the last game in the Retrospective series. I am going to do a video on Tekken 8, like a proper review, like I do with all the other games. And then that's it for the series. I have got a few more Tekken videos to put out, but after that, that's it with Tekken. I'm done. I'm done with Tekken. And then I've got to talk about a new series, a new game, a new franchise. I don't know which one yet. I've got 3 ideas in my head, and what I might do is leave a poll down below so you can vote on the next series I'll talk about. There's going to be 3. I am going to say them here, just so you need to check the poll just to see what they are. And yeah, what I'm going to do, the most voted one I'll talk about first, the middle voted one I'll talk about second, and then the third one, the lowest one, I'll talk about last, because I still want to talk about all the series. I want to talk about franchises that I'm passionate about, and I know if I do that, then I'm going to be motivated more to do it. So yeah, it's almost over. Tekken is almost done. 1 more game, technically 2, but yeah, I just want to say massive thank you again for all the support on the series. It's really motivated me to get more videos out, keep being consistent with my uploading. Every week I try to get a video out, and it's been really fun. Thanks to everyone who's liked the video, watched the video, commented, and definitely subscribed. Thank you so much, it means a lot. And yeah, I guess I'll see ya in Tekken 7.